This is Miriam Isklin. My guest today is actor, voiceover artist Anthony Ingruber. Welcome, Anthony, and thank you for taking the time to chat with us.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you very much for having me.
So I hear that you recently made a move from New Zealand to Toronto. Can you tell us a little bit more about how your move went and what prompted you to make such a big change in your location?
Well, I think it was mostly a last-minute decision. I think I only really decided to move, I think about 2 months ago, just because work had dried up pretty much for me in New Zealand. I was finding it pretty difficult to get auditions over there, and I think there was a bit of a workflow crisis over there. So I thought, I initially thought to go to America to try my luck over there, but it turns out it's just really hard to get a working visa permit to be qualified to do auditions and things over there. Instead, it turned out to be much more feasible to go to Toronto, which is now, I've discovered, is now known as the second Hollywood of the world. And it turns out that I have a friend here who is very well known and very well connected, named Jared Pelletier, who I've worked with before doing various independent voice jobs. And it seemed like a much more feasible and definitely much more simpler way of getting my foot in the door over here in the industry than trying to go overseas to the States.
Well, that's understandable. I can imagine that, when you want to be in front of the people who are making these films, you want to be close to where the action is. And Toronto has been called Hollywood North by some people. So yeah, that's definitely. You mentioned Jared. We'll come back to him, but I heard that you also signed up with a new rep. And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I recently had the pleasure to sign up with AMP Talent Group, headed by Anne-Marie Perot, who is the president and principal talent agent. They deal mostly with actors, models, and other entertainers, including television and films and voiceover. So I was very fortunate to find her and also be accepted because I sent off a sort of show reel of my impressions from YouTube, and she really enjoyed them. And so I was very lucky to stumble upon that opportunity to get representation here, because I believe it's very difficult to find an agent, especially when you make this kind of move at such a hasty, rushed schedule. So that was just a very fortunate thing to happen upon.
And was she the person responsible for hooking you up with your photo shoot that you recently did with photographer David Chang? I heard David has done photography for people like Russell Crowe and Bradley Cooper and stuff like that. So was she instrumental in getting that kind of thing going for you?
Yes, definitely. She single-handedly set it up, so I was very lucky about that. I went in to meet her, and on the spot she said, well, we can set up a photo shoot, and I left it the chance because I thought it would be very beneficial to update my pictures. And David Chang's work is stellar, and he's very easy to work with, and it was a very relaxed atmosphere. And Anne-Marie took time out of her own schedule to come see me during the shoot, which was very nice of her, just to see how I was doing and settling in. So, really it was a very relaxed and friendly atmosphere, which definitely helps when you're getting your photo taken. So that was, again, very, very lucky that I've made these contacts here so early on, because it's a huge move for me. I don't know very many people at all. I think I know about a handful of people in one of the biggest cities in the world.
Well, you definitely. I'm glad that they've welcomed you and made you feel at home, because I know I live in a big city, but it's definitely not as big as Toronto. So I did notice that you had an opportunity to go and sightsee with your family before they kind of went back home to New Zealand. So what's it been like to kind of see Toronto as kind of like a person who's going to be living there now, instead of just like a visitor?
Well, it was, I think it was about 3 a.m. when we arrived, and I remember thinking, oh, geez, it's freezing. Because we came from New Zealand, which was pretty warm at the time, and it's so small. It's really, I always compare it to the Springfield from The Simpsons in that you see the same recurring people everywhere. You know everyone in the city, and everyone knows you, so really it's a very close-knit. And then coming here, it was huge. The buildings were so tall, and because in New Zealand there are work regulations because there are frequent earthquakes, so everything's very small. Everything's very flat, except for the hills, of course, because it's mountain.
Mountain formation, yeah, definitely.
So it was just such a strange shift in environments, as well as the weather, but also the surroundings and the time difference. About 12-hour time difference as well.
So what are some of the things that you would like to have happen now in your career moving forward? Is there anything that we can mention? I know you have a project that you are worked with Jared called Halo Faith. Can you give us a little bit about that without giving away too much?
Well, it's based on the very popular video game Halo. It's a sort of adaptation of the initial plot where the aliens, the Covenant race, invades Earth, invades the planet of Reach, and the humans are essentially wiped out, I think. So, but that's not really a spoiler because I'm pretty sure everyone knows that who's played the game. So it's basically a very short, but very, very, very well made from what I've seen and what I know from Jared. Introduction to the Halo universe, sort of a prequel, and I'm sure that it's going to be very, very exciting and very impressive because his previous work that I've seen and worked on, he always put such a great amount of passion and dedication and finish to all of his projects, which is also the reason that prompted me to move to Canada, because I'd missed out on being in the live-action World War II film that he did, In the Hearts of Men, which I was, very upset not to be a part of because it was very, very well done, and I didn't want to miss out on any further projects.
Well, I don't blame you. I've seen, and we've actually interviewed Jared, so I've seen a bit of his work in action, if you want to say. So I understand your eagerness to want to be involved. Can you give us a little bit of information about what your role is in the film? Like,
Yeah.
Are you allowed? I know I can look up at IMDb, but this is really for our listeners to kind of hear what your part is in the film.
Well, yeah, my part is, because I arrived slightly late in the production process, I'm mostly doing voiceover work, which is funny because that's mostly what I've been doing with Jared so far, even though I'm now here in the flesh. So, because it's mostly all green screen work as well. So it's essentially like voicing the video game, even though it's the film version. It's still the same basic film process with computer animation and green screen and backdrops and all of that. But I voiced the Admiral who, at the beginning of the film, informs the planet that basically humanity is doomed. So it's a pretty uplifting role.
And in terms of what you became famous for, your YouTube videos, is that something that you plan on continuing to do?
Yes, definitely. It's just something I do because I greatly enjoy doing the impressions in the videos, and I love getting the feedback from people. And it's usually it's nothing but really encouraging stuff, and I'm just so flattered when I do get these replies, and I'm just very glad people enjoy my work because it's what I enjoy doing. And definitely in between jobs, I'm going to continue making these videos because I think I'll always do it. It's just something I really enjoy doing. It's a hobby and also as a way to pass the time.
Without kind of revealing too much. I know some artists prefer to kind of keep some things a secret. What inspires the videos that you make? Is there a moment where you're going, oh, I saw this and I want to make a video about that, or oh, I just kind of have an idea to do an impression of so and so? Is there any defining?
Well, you just summed it up pretty well. It's both of those things, really. If I see a film that I really love and I think the performances are, very impressive, I say, oh, well, let's see if I can do something around that, because I usually become so obsessed with a film when I see it and I really enjoy it. I'll watch the film on a loop continuously, like with The Shining or There Will Be Blood. I just watch the film constantly to the point where I have to wear headphones, otherwise my family's going to kick me out because the same dialogue's playing the whole time. So yeah, that's basically just that sort of for other characters and other actors that they put in for these characters that I just want to emulate and sort of pay homage to.
I don't want to put you on the spot, so if you don't want to do it, but would you be willing to do a quick little impression for us now?
Sure. Yeah, no problem.
Whatever you like. I don't want to make you feel obligated, but that would be something I'm sure our listeners would love.
Okay. Well, what would you like me to say? I can, plug in your radio show or talk about Canada and get some more tourists to come in.
And a question about that, when you're doing the videos, do you have to do them in a couple of takes, or sometimes does it just come at the first take? Like, is that kind of a more step-by-step process where you watch and you go, oh, that wasn't quite right, or oh, I want to add this, or so forth?
Definitely. I think the earlier ones, and you can tell definitely the earlier starting off ones were one take, and I would, mess up or forget a line, but I'd keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now I've, because I've gotten so many followers, and I think I kind of want to give them more bang for the buck. Follow me. I want to make a more exciting and polished feature. So I try to, if I'm doing a scene, I try to capture it from the correct angles and the correct timing with the music, if I can find the music from the scene, just to sort of get it as close as possible. Because it's much more impressive when it's all edited like that, and you can overlap voices and cut to different camera angles, and I think it's just a lot more enjoyable than a one take rushed thing as I used to do. But those were still fun because you can see me as a 17-year-old fresh out.
I'd like to give this opportunity for you to mention any future projects or plug any websites you like. I'll be including all links, of course, with the post, so people can have both the auditory and the visual. So please feel free to plug away.
Okay. Well, I've been informed by Jared that there are several other projects that he's got in mind based also on video games through the Machinima website that will be done like Halo Faith in terms of green screen, big budget props, and quite small but quite powerful pieces, including Red Dead Redemption, which is a Rockstar video game, which was incidentally one of my favorite videos, a Western sort of cowboy action flick, I suppose. Mm-hmm. And also BioShock, which is another hugely popular game in the same sort of vein as Halo was. It was a very big impact on the sort of gamers, and again, another one of my favorites. So I'm very lucky to be involved in these projects because I find the games so fascinating, and I found it's a shame that I wasn't involved in the original game, because I'm playing it and I said, oh, I wish I could do that voice, or I wish I could play the character as myself. Really, the next best thing, and I'm sure Jared's going to do an amazing job because all of his work so far has been just that, and so I'm very looking forward to that. Very much looking forward to that. That's going to be in the next couple of months, I believe June. I think we're doing Red Dead Redemption, so that should be pretty exciting, and it should be finished sometime around then.
Thank you for the interview, Anthony. Have a great evening.